Coutinho.
Closing down from Patino.
And the 5 minutes are up. Keith Stroud.
Come on, Keith.
In the middle. Roberts will have one last throw. Keith Stroud blows the whistle. And Blackpool's championship candle is still burning.
Yeah, big win there for Blackpool. And like I say, they had to win it. As simple as that. They have to win the next 2 games, don't we, to stay in the fight. But for you, I said this the other week to Brett Ormrod, he was sat in the chair. I just was like, I've just got a feeling, I thought Birmingham didn't have much to play for. I think Millwall, I know they've got players, but still on a bit of a slide. I don't know, I just have this inner belief that I get some stick for, of course, but I have it.
And rightly so. I think we've all got to. We've just alluded to it with the staff and the players. I think that's what it's about, having that belief and really sort of believing that, we can do it. And I think if you do that, you always give yourself a chance. Doesn't matter if you're at the top of the league or the bottom. Like, if you've got that belief and that togetherness, you give yourselves the right chance. And I was really pleased for the club and for Dobes and Blinks and the lads that they got that result at Birmingham, because it just keeps the season going, doesn't it? And like we've already touched on, huge game Friday, under the lights, full house. I'm sure it'll be a cracker, and the lads will be banged up for it. And
for Jan as well, who scored, he's a confidence player, isn't he? There's no doubt about it. If he's not got an arm round him, it's not going his way, it's just not working. But for him, he's pure. You can tell when, he's always the last one to leave because he loves giving his shirt out. He must have spent a fortune on that. But that's him though, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, as an academy staff, we'll always come and watch first team games. And over the course of this season, when he's featured, he's definitely someone you'd call a flair player, isn't he? He gets fans off the seats. He's very sharp, he's tricky, he can go past players, he can create chances, he can score goals. And I think when you talk about confidence, by doing those things consistently, he's definitely a player that you wouldn't be able to leave out really, because that's all those attributes and those things that he can bring are what you want in your forward players. So pleased for him and the team that he got the goal, and that resulted in the 3 points. But we'll see. It's not nobody's decision other than the people that are in charge up there in terms of who plays and who doesn't. And listen, I keep saying it about the belief and the togetherness. I think whoever does play, I'm sure whoever isn't is going to be right behind the team, which is the most important thing.
And you'll know what momentum is just massive. We talked about Millwall and Norwich. They're not themselves, absolutely flying, winning games left, right, and centre. So momentum, hopefully, it's shifting in our part. How big is that as a footballer and as a player?
Huge. It is big, and that word gets thrown about a lot, doesn't it? At this stage of the season, and I think the momentum here at the minute is certainly the performances. That you can see in the performances that there's definitely a style and a way that we're trying to play, and it's we've looked really good for large periods in games. So like you said, having that momentum going into these last couple of games, obviously Friday first and foremost, got a fighting chance. I'm sure if the lads perform how they have been doing, they'll give themselves a really good opportunity of taking it to that last game at Norwich.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracking game, I think, on Friday. Just going back to you in the under-18s and like the players and managing players, and we talked about Jan Paveda there being that sort of confidence player. Is that something you've had to learn? Because I'm thinking if you were growing up, it was more sort of teacups and shouting and stuff like that. That's just the way it was, wasn't it? But, we're like I say, we're in a different era now. Is that something you have to pinpoint pretty quickly?
I think that probably comes down to the relationships you have with the players, and knowing how what makes certain players tick. That might be an arm around the shoulder. That might be kick up the backside. Everyone's different. And I think as a coach, you have to know what gets each individual going. And I'm sure...
Do you have to go through that process, though? Do you have to sort of... Obviously, you might have a bit of a pop at them and think, that didn't work out. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think you learn, don't you, as you go. It might be that. It might be the arm around the shoulder that, you might be thinking that hasn't quite worked either. Yeah. So then it might be a case of actually sitting down with the player, and discussing things and getting their point of view on things. And like I said, those are all things that I've learned a lot about this season. Coming into the role, you're kind of only thinking about, right, I want to be a better coach, I want to try and do this, I want to try and do that. But all those types of things are just as important, I think, especially at this age. And I would go as far as saying that, I think I know out of the group that I'm coaching who needs what in terms of whether it is that arm around the shoulder, whether it is a little chat or a little meeting to go through things, or whether it's the other one that we mentioned around, giving them a bit of a, kick at the backside, like I said. So it's part of the game. You see it every week, don't you, on the sidelines down there. You have some managers that do it in different ways. You have some that are a bit more animated on the side. It's just, I think it's just about your own style and knowing your players. And I think there's certainly what you're seeing at the minute out here is a group of players that are really buying into what Dobbs and Blinks are trying to do. Yeah,
and obviously there is now that closer link, isn't it, between development, you guys. What about going down, sort of 16s, 14s and downwards? Do you sort of, have a bit of an eye on who's coming forward into your group for the next few years?
Yeah, obviously, going into next season, for example, just over that Easter half term, we've had some of the under 16s that have got scholarships come in and train with us, and that's been great. To sort of get them building blocks in place and starting, getting to know them now and, ready for when they come in and start full time in July. And Conrad Prendergast, our lead wide AP, has been great in that. He's done a great job. And we've signed some players, for next year that have got some real talent from all over, really. So, really looking forward to those lads coming in full time. And there's been a couple of occasions with the 18s this season already where they've featured. They've come on in games or they've started games. Young Terry played for us away at Morecambe at the weekend and was great. He performed really, really well. So that will give him a lot of confidence. We've had obviously Reece Madu come in and play, Charlie Cox. So those lads there, have been great when they've come in. And like I said, we're really looking forward to having them in full time.
And does it take you back a little bit to your days? Thinking when you were 16, going into like 18, you're getting that sort of YTS as it was.
It was. Yeah.
You sort of think, they must be absolutely buzzing these lads.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, I remember when I was an under 16, and I remember being on the bench for an FA Youth Cup game for Oldham away at Barnsley, and just warming up in a stadium, there was
a big kit on.
Yeah, putting a big kit on, 3 sizes too big, all that. But just that, like, it's as close to a first team environment as you're going to get at that age. And I remember that feeling, and I'm sure it's been the same for the lads that have come in and played for us, albeit it's not been in big stadiums. But just being a part of the group and playing for 3 points and trying to win something. So yeah, like I said, it must be a great feeling for him. I think I'd love to be that age again myself and do it all over again. But I'm really looking forward to obviously trying to help them in their journeys. Thanks for watching. To watch the rest, got to do that again. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch the rest, subscribe to Tangerine TV.